Good afternoon. I am Shay from Oz Arab Media. Marhaba for all of those in Lebanon viewing this session with our very special guest, Dr. Marc Beyrouthy. Dr. Marc, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hello, and thank you for your hospitality.
The pleasure is ours here at Oz Arab Media. I want to give our viewers an intro, and by no means is this going to capture your credentials and all of the work that you've done, which we will hear more about. But for all those viewers tuning in who haven't heard about Dr. Marc's efforts, Marc was born in Kartaba, a village in Mount Lebanon. He has and he brings with him a very big focus on produce, the Lebanese culture, and as well as that, a focus on climate change. He definitely comes from a long line of producers in Lebanon, and he's here to share with us the work that he's doing to support the current crisis in Lebanon. I want to say God bless you and thank you for all your efforts. I'm sure it's a very challenging time. We'll touch on some of that work at the moment. So for us in Sydney, we're hearing a lot about what's going on in Lebanon. Most of us are connected with family and friends. At times, the only connection we have is what we hear in the media. But tell us a bit about the current situation you're in now, living in Lebanon. What's the current situation with producers, companies? How's it being affected by the war?
So actually, the situation is very bad. Most of people abroad think that it's a war between, if you want, Israel and some region in Lebanon or some political party in Lebanon. Actually, it's a war against all Lebanon. And when I say this, if you want, I call it's an eco-genocide also happening because the Lebanese who survived, if you want, the corona crisis in Lebanon and then the inflation and Beirut bomb and all this, and who decided to stay, now they are facing again a huge threat to their businesses, to their villages. So what you see on the news about the south and the Bekaa is catastrophic. But it's also people who are affected in every corner of Lebanon. Yeah, you note that, for example, in order for the Lebanese to stay in Lebanon, the priorities are school for their children, good standard of living, and all this is affected now. And people who never thought of leaving Lebanon or fleeing Lebanon are doing it now. And this is the problem, because I know that this war will end, we don't know when, but it will end. And when it will end, for example, people, Lebanese who are living abroad, wants to come to Lebanon, to their villages. But if they will come to Lebanon and there is no more villages, no more Lebanese, it will be a huge mess. So that's why for us in Lebanon now, it's one of the biggest threat ever to Lebanon, because we don't know when it will end, what's the end game, how it will be done, and you have no idea how much businesses, small producers, farmers are affected. So to give you an example, yesterday we were talking with farmers from the borderline. They are not allowed to go to pick their olives. And do you know how it's really something that no one can understand unless he was a farmer himself. So you work for 1 year in order to let your olives grow, and then you cannot pick them. They will be destroyed sometimes, they will be burnt sometimes. So whatever I can tell you, it's even worse.
Thank you for that insight into the current situation. Like I mentioned to you before, for us in Australia, very removed from the effect that is happening on the village, but on the people. And I'm sure for those listening and viewing online, they have family, they have friends. But it is a privilege to hear from you, especially in terms of how it's affecting the day-to-day operations, the
Yes.
produce. Are there other examples before we move on to the next question that you could share with us about a similar story?
Yeah. So for example, you know that when you see the news, they are not showing you entire villages being wiped up. So when you destroy a village, you destroy memory for people, you destroy their childhood and all this. But it's not only this. It's people who are now living in other areas. So many areas in Lebanon are overwhelmed with population. Now winter is here. Some people are still till today living on the roads because they didn't find a house or a shelter. So you have people that who normally have a very dignified life. They have amazing houses, gardens, and now they are on the street. So as I told you, so till now we're not maybe having huge problems in the day-to-day life, but the problem is people who don't have future in Lebanon, who are also every single day we have Lebanese fleeing away of the country, and this is why I called eco-genocide. Why they are leaving? Because they cannot work, they cannot do anything you want. You have more than, so I don't know, we don't have now.
If I could interrupt you there, could you repeat that term? What type of genocide, and give some explanation?
So economic genocide. I think for me, so as I told you before, why we have an economic genocide? It's when you push a population to leave because they cannot, if you want, have a decent life, and they flee to have a more, if you want, a better life outside. And normally, people who stayed are people with businesses who can stay here. But when you see that you can no longer practice your business, so let me just to give you an example. Lebanon is known for nightlife, for restaurants, and it's you have because you have real numbers, government numbers, but we're talking about 100,000 businesses who closed in the last year. So you have to think how many people invested, put their dreams into this, and then it stopped because they can no longer practice it. So you have millions of workers, if you want, people who open businesses. All this is closed now, and it's affecting everyone. So when you have all this happening, you're left with no other option than to go outside the country.
Thank you. That gives a very good picture of how the war is affecting the day-to-day business operations. We're very fortunate here in obviously Sydney to have that support. Much more is needed to support Lebanon. If we can segue into the next question, because I only have you here for so much time, can you tell me a little bit about your recent work and humanitarian efforts for Lebanon? How did this come about, and what do you want to achieve with this work?
Yeah. So together with Anthony Rahayer, who is so much known in Australia, we opened a company called Made by Nature. So it's an entrepreneur. It's a company who, if you want, it's a community-based work company, social entrepreneurial company. Okay. So what we do normally, we work with small producers, farmers, women in villages, and we try to sell their produce. So this is what we normally do. But now it's so difficult. I'll tell you later on why, but it's becoming so difficult in order to sell this. So, and again, if you are watching the news, you see that aid is coming from different countries, but this aid is only buying product from outside Lebanon and give it to refugees. So we came up with an idea, or if you want, it's not an idea, it's an initiative called من كل لبنان لكل لبنان, which translates into from all Lebanon to all Lebanon. So how it happened, we were when the Beirut explosion.
Love that tag.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. من كل لبنان لكل لبنان. So to tell you how we got this idea. So actually, after the Beirut explosion, we saw that many NGOs, and this is maybe one of the problems you guys have with Lebanon, people from outside don't trust NGOs anymore. So many NGOs brought food, brought money, and they sent all this to the same people, or many bad things happened. Let's say it like this. And we saw that people in Beirut are having, for example, pasta from Italy, let's say. But we have pasta in Lebanon. Why nobody is buying this? And we had many friends affected by the Beirut bombs who live in Akkar and Hermel and Baalbek. So we said, it's not good how it's happening. We need to really, if you want, support those small producers who are in the villages. You have to help local population stay in the villages. Otherwise, when you will go to the villages, they will be empty. So this initiative is called من كل لبنان. We used to go with the camera, for example, shed light on producers, and we asked people from abroad or from Lebanon to help us buy their produce, and then we sent it to refugees or to people in need. So this is, if you want, this is affecting all the value chain. You're helping the economy. I'm always talking about economic genocide because we need to help people stay in Lebanon. And if you help our initiative, you would be helping us staying in Lebanon, helping our employees, helping people in the villages and small producers staying, and then you buy products and you send to refugees, and you're helping in this way on all levels. Our problem is you're helping without even supporting the local producers who needs to sell their products. So this is why our initiative is called من كل لبنان لكل لبنان, is to help on all the value chain.
A very thoughtful and considered response to the magnitude of support that's needed at the moment. I'm sure those viewers listening and also tuning in, those wanting to get in contact with you after, can hear more. It's an incredible effort, especially with everything going on, and to support the Lebanese people, to support themselves. It's, again, something that is a very considered approach to the effort that's needed to support the resilience of Lebanon today and for the future.
Yes.
I was going to ask you the next question. Today and around the world, we're all watching Lebanon firsthand. They're under attack from Israel. What is it like personally for you and your family and friends? We spoke about it a little bit before, but who would you say are the most vulnerable people that are being affected right now by all that's going on?
So I don't know how to answer this question without getting into politics, and because I really hate politics. But I will try to answer you my way. So of course, we live in a region which is not directly affected by the bombs. So our region is not bombed, but what we see, what we hear, is a catastrophic. And I can assure you that, for example, I'm an agricultural engineer. Fields of farmers are wiped out, are burned. Very big olive trees are crushed, but people are dying. When people are dying, what can you say? But just to tell you how much is huge. When I watch sometimes, so it's going to be a little bit sarcastic answer, but when I watch sometimes the news on the Western world, you see, for example, a small event in schools, and they will shut down the school, bring psychologues or people to talk to the kids because this is not good and this is bad, and it's affecting their psychology. My kids, I have 3 kids. We live in 100 kilometers away from the bombs actually, but my kids, okay, are growing up knowing the difference between a bomb from the airplane or from the sea, or from so where my kids are growing with words, with things that they shouldn't as kids be dealt with. So you have no idea what we're dealing. They take on their phones, they see massacres, they see airplanes bombing. So what's happening, it's affecting everybody. We have near us some refugees, we're trying to help. If you want, what the problem is, the world is watching, and we're watching as if we are watching a series on a TV. And what's happening in Lebanon is things that maybe are close to science fiction. So if you're following what happened with the pagers, then something yesterday in Batroun, or it's really we don't have words to say it, but I prefer not to answer everything that is now getting into my mind, because I don't want to go into politics. But I can tell you that what Lebanon, this very small country, is facing is something that maybe never had been faced by a country in the last 100 years.
Thank you. Very powerful words. I don't think there's a way for us, for you especially, and the parents and families in Lebanon, to capture the emotional impact it has on children. And I just want to extend my heartfelt thanks for speaking up on the issue, because from where we are, we really do rely on the platforms that don't understand the realities of what's going on within Lebanon and don't have friends.
You're just watching us like if you're watching a Netflix movie or a series. And this is the problem when I talk to friends from abroad and I try to explain what's happening. It's the first time that we don't feel this very huge sympathy, or they don't understand what we're saying. So this is the problem.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure it's a very emotional time for you and your family. We touched on a lot, but might seem a little bit insensitive for me to say at the moment. But what is your advice? Because there are communities in Lebanon listening to you right now. What's your advice to them? You know, how do you emotionally build that resilience for what's going on? How do we ensure, this is the second question, that the Lebanese population, at least from those here in Lebanon and with the support of the Australian government in time, support that resilience and response, that you're not forgotten? Definitely not watching on as though, you know, it isn't a Netflix series. But what's your advice to those people, your friends, your family in Lebanon going through all of that
So
right now?
yeah, so I'll separate the answer into two parts. I will talk to the Lebanese staying in Lebanon, and then to people outside Lebanon. To people Lebanese staying in Lebanon, so they don't need my advice. Those people, in just the last 5 years, they they survived the huge inflation that a country ever been affected in the world, maybe. They survived Corona, the bomb of Beirut, all the assassinations. We joke about it and we say that we're just waiting for the dinosaurs in Lebanon and we will have it all. We really survived everything. Why we survived this? Because we love our country, we love our villages. Our parents really raised us loving Lebanon. So if anyone who came to Lebanon will know that it's Lebanon is like a good disease that will affect you for life, and you cannot just get rid of Lebanon. And you will see maybe many things that are not normal, but if you love Lebanon, you don't need my advice. To people outside Lebanon, I would answer that I think that Lebanese in Lebanon are very crucial to you, Lebanese abroad, as Lebanese abroad are crucial to us. That's why we're talking to them today. Why? Because if you know people from Australia, like yourself, for example, you still have the accent that we in Lebanon lost. People in Australia have accent, the Lebanese accent from the villages. They love Lebanon, and maybe many of them dream of coming back, for 1 week or for 1 month to Lebanon. If this is your dream, it's now your time to help, because the Lebanon that you love will no longer exist in 5 or 10 years if you don't help now. What we are facing now is huge. If you listen to what people are saying, they are talking about us as if it's just on a pen. Someone wrote our future, and if you see what people are planning for Lebanon, you'll get scared for us. So what I ask you is to lobby for Lebanon, to let our voice be heard, to really shed the light on what's happening on every corner in Lebanon, not only in the war zone. You need to help us stay, because if we stayed, one day when you return to your village, you will see your village. If you don't help us, your village will no longer exist. Maybe people not from your villages will take it, maybe foreigners will take it. But this is for me, and I know too much the history of Lebanon. The war that we're facing now will change the history and the future of Lebanon for the 100 coming years.
Thank you very much for that thoughtful advice. Again, a very emotional time for you and the people of Lebanon. How could you help give this message to people in Australia that might not have an understanding of what's going on, not because of ignorance, just lack of understanding?
The problem, as I told you before, and I don't want to go into politics, people from Australia or from other parts in the world, they think this is a war between Israel and the political party. But actually, it's not. It's a war against Lebanon. People in maybe different regions of Lebanon are not being killed, are not being bombed, but we're left alone. And you have to also know that we don't have a government, we don't have a president. So it's like, we're left alone, even from our own politicians who shamefully we elected, even from the governments of the world. And if you listen to politicians from all the world, they just, if you want, took one side, and they are not looking to what's happening in every region in Lebanon. We, for example, from our region, we didn't choose this war. You cannot, for example, this is something wrong in the world. You cannot, in order to kill one person that you call terrorist, for example, bomb a city. And this is there's something wrong in what's happening. So you need to really understand what's happening. So, for example, if you're living in Australia and I have a problem with a certain population, should I wipe Australia? So this is, if you want to understand what's happening. For example, my kids are asking me very simple questions. Are we going to have Christmas this year? We don't know. We don't know what to answer our kids. We don't know how much this war is going to last. So we don't know if schools will stay open or not. We don't know basic rights. We don't know if in 1 month we will have food to eat because they are talking about an embargo. We don't know if we will have fuel in 1 month. So it's we live in a huge uncertainty, and for Lebanon to survive, we need Lebanese or anyone who loves Lebanon from abroad to lobby for our cause. This war cannot continue how it's being done till now. I'm trying to answer away from politics. I'm choosing my words carefully.
Definitely. I think a response without the government would be very, very challenging. But just hearing your words
Yeah.
from someone that is living through what's happening every day, not just looking at what's there in the media, consuming the numbers, it's a
Yeah.
very, very important way for us here in Australia to start the conversation, whether that
Yeah.
be with our local council, our local federal members of
Yeah.
parliament. It is a very important conversation we should be having.
Okay. Can I just
So I
add one
thank you
thing
and I
to what I
extend my
was?
heart.
Thank you. Can I just add something to what you just said now? So imagine, for example, my case, I'm head of an enterprise. I have employees, and like you're saying, for example, in Australia, you have federal government, local government, municipality, whatever. So you have people actually who are taking decisions for you. In Lebanon, I don't have anyone to talk to. And the government, who doesn't exist, is continuing on a daily basis to ask for taxes, to ask for municipality fees. They live in their castles and they are still continuing on if it's business as usual, and we're left alone even from the municipalities, like the layer of people, they still continue as business as usual. They ask you for taxes, they ask you to bill the electricity bill, which you don't have. We don't have electricity from the government, and they ask us to bill. So one of our Lebanon now is left to the civil society. If there are no people like us, like me, like my friends, the civil society, Lebanon would have been maybe finished. So this is also what's happening. It's not. What I'm trying to tell you is that we're left alone from the world, from our friends in the world, from our politicians. I don't know if this is something that we did wrong, but
A
what
very
will?
isolating situation. And I
Yeah,
know you can see the positivity, that resilience I can see in the culture definitely
yeah.
shines through. But from everyone here on the call and then obviously watching, we are definitely with you. And we hope that this can start many conversations here and around the world about how we can support the people of Lebanon. Speaking of how we can support the people of Lebanon, how are people, and please let me know if you need me to repeat the question given the
Yes.
connectivity. Mark, are you there?
Yeah, yeah. I'm hearing you very well. I'm with you. I'm hearing very well.
I think it's my connection as well. So, how can
Okay.
we in Australia contribute to your fundraising efforts?
Yeah.
What's the best way for me to do that?
Okay. So you're hearing me? I can answer. Okay.
Yeah.
So Yeah. So there's many ways of helping us. One of the easiest way, I don't know how to find words to thank Huda from Australia, who is helping us a lot, and she started a fundraising campaign on GoFundMe. This is a way that you can help us. So you can contribute to this GoFundMe campaign. By doing so, the money that we will receive, we will buy products from the producers in Lebanon, and we will take these products to either NGOs that we trust or to family. If you ask us, it's a very, if you want, customized way of helping. So you can like send 25, 50, $100 or more or less, whatever you want, and you ask us to buy from these producers and to send to this particular family, and we will do it. Either you say, I help any NGO that you want. So it's a very, customized way of helping directly, direct help. But and for those people who don't want to go into, the GoFundMe, you can just contact us on our WhatsApp number. I will give it. So it's +961 76363 and you can ask us, and we can send. I repeat it.
Yes,
So
please.
plus,
And we will obviously publish this on Oz Arab Media as well.
yeah. So +961 76363 and you can ask us on all the different ways of helping. We will send you, for example, you can pay through, I don't know if you have them, but TapTapSend, OMT, Wish Money, or through our website, madebynaturelb.com. We have boxes that you can buy. So we're not here asking you to give us money. We're asking you to buy from us so we can buy from producers. And this way you can help us. But not only this. So I'm asking people from all around the world help a Lebanese by listening to him, by just give him a phone and ask him how he's feeling, how can you help. And some people, living abroad can give to Lebanese work. Like, for example, if you know a graphic designer and you work in a company needing a graphic designer who can work remotely, give him a project. If you know, for
I
example,
think
an architect.
that's an incredible segue. How do people here in Australia, because I was just going to touch base in terms of a social media
Yeah,
campaign, support for your business here in Australia, how can
yeah.
we engage those contractors overseas in a way that works for them and works for us here?
Yeah, so you have now many Lebanese who decided to stay, and you know that Lebanese are skilled. They talk three languages. They are very good with. We have very good universities. You have students that you can help. Don't just give money. Ask them for work. They can work for you. You can engage. For example, if you ask, and we can as much as we know. So we're not the government, but if you need any help by like for example finding. A graphic designer, an architect, an agriculture engineer to do some studies for you. We can be the link. But I'm sure that anyone has links in Lebanon. So what we're asking you, just try as much as you can to help. Okay, as I told you, and I'm really convinced of this word. Lebanese and Lebanon are facing an economic genocide. I don't know who, but they want us out of this country. People who never imagined leaving the country left the country. So if you want us to stay and to help the Lebanon, you can help. You can help, okay, by the GoFundMe I told you, and by all the different ways. By, for example, just support, call, ask, what can you do? Can I, for example, I don't know, help you in paying the fees of your students? And you can help in any different way. You can, like you're doing now, where you're allowing us to so our voice arrives to the biggest audience different possible. But I'm just begging you, everyone who's listening, to know that it's not a Netflix movie. It's a country that you love, called Lebanon. It's Lebanese who decided to stay that are being affected.
And that's most likely a different topic we can discuss, the emotional
Yes.
impact of the war, both on the people in Lebanon, but also here for us consuming that. There is that desensitization towards hearing about it, not to
Yes.
take away the emotional hurt and the pain and the help that Lebanon and the people of Lebanon need. So, by all means, we are not undermining the help that you need, but I am extremely that you're able to provide us with the opportunity to see how we can connect with you.
Yeah, can you
Dr. Mark,
repeat?
can you hear me?
Yeah, but I didn't hear the question very well. So if you just can repeat quickly.
I definitely can. Just let me know when you can hear me. I believe it
Now
might
I'm
be my
hearing you very
connection
well.
this time.
Now it's very good.
Okay, sure. So I just want to extend my heartfelt thank you for sharing what's going on in Lebanon, giving us the voice on the ground. And we are not, in definitely no way, undermining the hurt, the pain, and the relief that Lebanon needs right now. Very happy and privileged to have you on air and connecting with Oz Arab Media so we can share your work more widely and your contact details with the Lebanese community, because there are a lot of people who want to help here. We just don't know how. So thank you so much for sharing those details for your work. And I know we will continue these conversations, have you back, where we can explore and discuss other topics about how this war is having an emotional impact. Did you have anything else that you'd like to share with our viewers?
No, thank you for the time that you gave us. Thank you for letting us, if you want, send you this
It's an
message.
absolute privilege from everyone here in Oz Arab Media and on behalf of the Lebanese community to have you speak. And God bless you for all the work that you're doing, and we will be in touch. Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Mark, for your time.
Thank you.